On this computer. Yay. Okay. And now I'm going to go here and we are ready to go. Okay. I think we are live. It's setting it up and I believe we're good to go.
That's right.
So welcome to Organizing for the Holidays with Shanley, part 4. Yay.
Oh,
my name is Karen Cagg and this is Shanley Tenike, and Shanley is a professional organizer. Tell us about what you do, Shanley, and what we're doing here.
Yep. So I'm a KonMari consultant and a professional organizer. I'm also a certified personal stylist. And so for that reason, closets are my favorite thing to do. Today, we are going to be talking about organizing your home for the holidays and using the KonMari method. And we've already gone through it. So there's five categories in the KonMari method. And so you've got clothing, books, paper, kimono, and sentimental. And we've already talked about clothing, books, and paper. And today is number 4. And we're going to talk about kimono, which in Japanese means miscellaneous. So that is everything that is not in one of the other categories. So as you can imagine, that's a lot.
Yeah. And I know you said that you start with the easiest really, which is clothing. And okay, so to be completely transparent, I have hired Shanley and we spent about 7 hours going through just my clothes.
Yeah. And that's pretty normal. That's pretty normal.
And that was I'm glad we started there though. I'm glad that that's done. And so she's going to be working with me on books and then on paper and then finally on this one. So if you haven't hired Shanley, I recommend that you do, but she's going to give you some tips to if your house isn't quite as bad as mine is, that you can kind of get through. So
we will get through any house and no matter what level of untidiness.
Yes. And before you do anything else, there's a link that right here with this video. If you're watching this on the replay, click subscribe to Shanley's Organizing with Shanley YouTube channel and click subscribe so that that way you don't miss any other tips and tricks that she has coming your way.
That's right. Thank you very much. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go to that little PowerPoint presentation. Excuse me, and remind me to come back because I always forget to do that. Okay, so this is where we are today, and we're gonna, again, talking about the life-changing magic of tidying up. I'm gonna put that up there. This is me and the associations I belong to. I'm a member of NAPO, which is the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, and the other groups that I'm a part of. And so the thing to remember about the KonMari process is that you're supposed to, I do this every time, you're supposed to organize by category, not by location. And so far we've gone through clothing, books, and paper, and next is kimono. And so the reason that you do it in that order is because it as Karen said earlier, it goes from easy to hard. And it's because most people are not sentimentally attached to their clothing. Although if they are, then it becomes a sentimental item, not clothing. And so that way it's easier for people to figure out what to do with the 10 black t-shirts that they own, that they didn't even realize they had 10. They just thought they had 2, right? And so when you start doing it by location, it makes it harder because you're only doing your bedroom, but you also have clothes in your hall closet, and you also have clothes in your gym bag, and you also have clothes in your car, and you also have clothes at the office and in the garage and all those other things. So that's why you do it by category. And so again, kimono means miscellany in Japanese. And so this is the largest category, as you can imagine, because it's all of the other things that are not one of the other 4. And so we're going to do just like we did with the other categories. We're going to do it by gathering. Okay. And so there's sort of a process that you go through with kimono as well, going from easiest to hardest. And so you're going to want to divide your categories into smaller subcategories. And so the idea is that you're going to start like in the kitchen, you're going to start with all the utensils and then put everything out on the counter and then decide, do you really need, 6 scoopers and 7 spatulas and 4, so you're going to start doing again by quantity of the same like with like. And so you can't, it's too overwhelming to think of all of the different categories of Komono. So, I mean, you have your garage, your linen closet, your bathroom, your kitchen, your attic, your storage unit, your laundry room, everything that's in your room that isn't books, paper, clothing, or sentimental. I mean, so it's all your knickknacks, your decoration, all of the things, like even your pictures on the wall, that counts. And you need to think about all of those things. And so this was, this is always the longest category because people have a lot of things that aren't in those other four categories.
Oh,
And it's
can we
also
do
the
this one?
part,
Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry,
Can we do
go
this
ahead.
one room by room? Do we like start
So,
with do the kitchen stuff
yes, so
and then,
you can. And so if you're the type of person who's a professional chef or just a great foodie and the kitchen is your favorite place, we might do that last. We might start in your bathroom first instead. But if you're a makeup person, then we wouldn't start in your bathroom. So it just depends on the level of connection you have with your things, right? And I do that by getting to know you. And so if I understand that the person that I'm working with doesn't really cook in their kitchen much, we're absolutely going to start in their kitchen because it means there's not much there. Or it means what is there, they're not really emotionally attached to. And that's okay. That makes it easier because then we can call that one whole room done, right? And again, at that point, your category is you're organizing by location. First category, because now you're in Komono, but then specifically in location with kitchen, but then again by category, because we're doing all the utensils and then we're doing all the food and then we're doing all the plates and dishes and drinkware and then we're doing all the appliances and then we're, so you still go in a systematic method by category, not by location.
okay.
So again, largest category, it will take a long time. So you're going to want to do things like dividing things. Instead of doing all of your CDs and DVDs at the same time, you're going to divide them up and just do DVDs. And then you're going to do CDs. If you're like me and my husband, who are huge music people, we've got tons and tons and tons of music, right? Boxes of music. And we don't get rid of them, even though we have a subscription to Pandora and you can stream all the music you want online now, because you can't get every single one. I mean, the Tony Childs disc that I've had since I visited Australia when I was a junior in high school, I can't stream that online right now, but I can pop it into the DVD player or to the CD player and listen to it that way. So there's a way to deal with your favorite things so that it best accommodates you and your preferences. So, if you're a huge makeup person, we're going to make makeup its own category within the bathroom, because maybe you don't keep your makeup in the bathroom. Maybe you keep it in your bedroom, right? And so you're going to be one of those people that has lots of boxes of things. And so what we're going to try and do is put all of your eye creams together, and then all of your face creams together, and then all of your eyeshadow together, then all of your lipsticks together, then all of your blush together. And then we're going to go through that again category to try and minimize the amount of overwhelm and overload. But it again, it's the exact same concept of piling, right? Same as clothes, same as books. You're going to pile like with like, and you're going to deal with that whole pile so that you understand quantity. And the shock value is absolutely still in effect here, right?
Yeah, that's what happened with my clothes. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And
Say more about that. What did the whoa do to you?
uh it created well, here, do you want to stop sharing? I don't know if we need to see. I want to
Yes,
see that
yes.
picture in a second, but you can go back. Um, it created a sense of urgency when well, one, because you had me put it on the bed, and I thought I do need to get in this bed at some point. But I mean, a king size
Well,
bed was absolutely covered and stuff was sliding off. I mean,
yeah.
you said
And so, but what did I ask you first before we even started during the consultation? What did I ask you about your bed?
whether I needed to sleep there or could I sleep somewhere else, because yeah, and you were absolutely right. And I thought, oh, I don't have that much.
And
And I
everyone
thought
thinks
she was
that.
right.
But Everyone thinks that, okay? And it's a perfectly normal response because you just went through that drawer last week and it's okay. I've done that drawer. I know I need everything in that drawer. Well, guess what? We're still going to dump that drawer out on your bed and we're still going to go through it because there are things in that drawer that number one don't belong in that drawer and
Mhm.
number two that you looked over because it's the idea of clutter fatigue, right? You look over things. You just don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
And so you literally ignore those things. And so, like with you, may I share about your
Yes,
socks?
go share whatever you
Okay.
want.
So
Yeah.
it was the cutest thing because you were like, oh no, I need all these socks. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pile the socks in one place. And then I want you to just separate yeses from nos. Okay. So throw the nos all in the bag. Great. And you were like, well, these are really kind of dirty. I'm like, okay, so let's throw them away then. But the yeses, once we were done with dividing everything, then we went back through the yeses, right? And you
Yes.
realized you had like 15 pairs of white socks. And you're like, I just don't really need that many pairs of white socks. Oh, and these are kind of dingy. And so then you evaluated even the yeses at that point. And so that's the point of piling is to create the overload again because you got rid of more than half of what you had and then you went back through what you had again.
And
And
I went back to when you first started with me, you asked what my intention was, and I don't think I'd really articulated that in what you what you kept asking, you kept questioning me until I ultimately came up with, I think I just want a wardrobe like when I travel. That made me realize, you don't need that much. And that's exactly what came up again when I started looking at the socks. I think I even said like, okay, if I were going on a trip, I would take these socks, these socks, these socks, these socks, and that's what. Okay, so I guess I don't need these other two pairs of black socks. I have 7 pairs of black socks over here, so that
and
really
that
helps.
worked perfectly.
That's the psychology that you helped me with so much, was like, um, helping me come back to what is my purpose, and what do I really, really want?
Yeah.
And because I would forget, and I also would just get overwhelmed because I would just look at all that and go like,
That's right. And that's totally normal as well. That's the point, in fact, of the pile is to overwhelm you. You were supposed to feel that overwhelm so that you can then regain control of it and then take it down to a smaller amount because you wouldn't be reaching out to me if you weren't overwhelmed and not know how to deal with it.
right.
You can deal with this. It's just that you're not, right? And so I'm here to help, right? And so I'm here to break it down into smaller chunks and here we have the yeses. We're going to break that down even smaller, okay? So
Yeah.
that's the that's the point of Komono is breaking it down into smaller chunks. And so let's just talk about one thing that's my second favorite tip. My first favorite tip for all clients is take the stickers off of things because your brain has to think about ignoring that sticker every single time you see it. So on clothing, on a basket that's connected on with a little plastic circle, a sticker on the side of your tubs or your anything. Take it off, okay? Second favorite tip is just because somebody hands you something does not mean you need to take it. You can still keep it. Okay. So when you go to the makeup counter and you go to that monthly brand name counter where you're going to get that little freebie bag, if they aren't your colors, and I know you get a choice, summer versus winter or spring versus fall, they try and make it as easy as possible. But here's the thing, if you're not a lipstick wearer, just say no, thank you. You do not have to take that. You can say no, thank you. There is absolutely going to be someone else who will take that little bag of samples. Okay. So just let it go. Say no, thank you. Don't bring it into your home if it's just going to sit there and you're going to have to deal with ignoring it because that's what you do is you literally just ignore it, just like a sticker, right? And then you feel bad for having it sit there. And then that's when the guilt and the bad feelings come in that we don't need in your home. The point of your home is to lift you up and spark joy and make you feel happy. And if that thing that you're bringing in isn't going to make that feeling happen in your body, that zing, please don't bring it into your home.
Something else I realized during our sessions, Shanley, I think I mentioned, was that I said, this is scarcity mindset. I grew up
Absolutely.
really poor. And so with the clothes, it was like, I felt guilty, like, well, I bought this so I should keep it,
Yeah.
and you kept saying like, somebody else can use that. And that really helped. But also with like free things. I mean, that's also like this lack or scarcity mentality, like, oh, it's free. Okay, I better take it. What? I don't, there may be an apocalypse. I might need this extra
Yeah,
lipstick. I don't so and then I just take stuff home and so that's a really good tip because but I think that that's what you've brought to the surface and helped me understand and realize like, okay, Karen, you're not you're not, you're not on welfare as a little girl anymore. You've got enough food, you've got a home, everything is fine. But that is so deep in me that it makes me cling to stuff and I
yeah,
don't need to. So
yeah,
thank you. That's the psychological part of
yeah.
what you do that is so, so helpful for
Yeah,
me.
good. I'm so glad that you think that. I'm as a member of NAPO, I go through a lot of classes. I've done hundreds of hours of classes for certifications. And you can see those on my webpage, which is just my name, shanleytonic.com. And you can see that I have specializations in certain areas. And so it's important to me to be able to understand why you're thinking the way that you do and then how to help you turn that around. And so it's all about reframing, right? And so reframing your mindset and helping you decide that even frankly, if you were on welfare, Karen, that does not mean you need to take everything that's offered to you. It doesn't suit your purposes. It's
You're right.
really okay, no matter what your status is. And so, excuse me, if you find yourself feeling that, then I want you to go back to the overwhelm that you felt when we started. And how you got to that point was by accepting things and bringing things into your home, and not you, this is anyone.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
how bringing things into your home just piles and piles and piles and piles, and all of a sudden you can't see over anymore, right? And so bringing it down to a manageable level is what we do during these sessions.
hmm it's almost mindfulness training, what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely. And so that's an important distinction too, is that Marie Kondo is not a minimalist. And so many people think that she is, but what she is she wants you to have things in your home that make you happy. And so if the oil that you're using, you were just talking about this with another of your downline, is which oil was it that you like that she didn't?
Um,
Neroli? Was it
oh yeah,
neroli?
neroli. Yeah.
Yeah, so she had neroli and she's like, yeah, I don't really like that. And you're like, oh my gosh, I love it so much. Please send me some. And so she did. And so the way of releasing that from her home is by passing it along to somebody else that can enjoy it. And so if you bring something into your home and you find it doesn't spark joy, just let it go. You need to release that so that it can bring someone else joy, because it will. It will.
Yeah,
There's no way it won't.
yeah. I love that.
So let me just make sure I've covered all of my notes. The most important thing about Komono is to break it into smaller sections.
Oh, I
And
want to see
then,
those pictures. And after I
oh
maybe
yeah,
come back so I can see
do
your
that
face.
while I'm going over my notes, and I'll talk over that diagram.
Oh,
The
I don't think
thing,
I can share that. It's on your screen.
oh, okay, I can do that then. Let me share it.
All right.
It'll take me a
It looked
second.
like somebody's garage or something. My brother just cleaned up. I think I posted what we were doing, and I think I inspired my brother to get out and do his garage.
We're talking about two different things. I thought you
Oh,
were
oh,
talking about that picture with the oils that you can use for gratitude.
oh, no, no, I've got that right here while you're doing that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, you hold that up
While
then.
she's pulling that up, this
Good.
oils and
And we
affirmation.
Yeah, and we've posted this down below in the discussion as well, so you can see these. And so these are great oils to use while you're starting your tidying festival. And the important thing about kimono too is that you will need things that don't spark joy, like your toilet plunger or your screwdrivers or your whatevers, But here's the thing: you could buy a toilet plunger that is in the shape of an elephant, that because you love elephants, right? Or in the color that you like. It doesn't have to be that basic black one with a wooden handle, that you got at Ace Hardware or wherever for $2. Buy one that you like. Buy one that's your favorite color. And so it's okay to have utilitarian things in your home as well, because when you need it, it will spark joy because you have it, right? And so
Yeah.
just So I always think of the toilet plunger as sort of the ideal thing that you think about, or a screwdriver or a hammer. Um, Grouping like with like when you're doing this. And so thinking about things like hobbies, you have a whole bunch of snowboarding equipment in your garage. Are you actually a snowboarder? Do you actually snowboard? Like, do you take the time to go do that? Or is this an aspirational hobby? And in which case that's cool too. But if it doesn't get you towards your goal of who you want to be, and that's why we start all of our sessions talking about your goals and your intentions and setting your intentions. Because if your intention is to become a traveler, maybe you do want to travel to different snowboarding sites in the world, but maybe you don't. And in which
Just
case,
rent.
let's say goodbye and thank you to the snowboarding equipment and let a snowboarder use it, right? Okay. So it's important that when you consider collections of supplies, does that hobby get you towards your goal, who you want to be? Um, let's see. Oh, and so with if you're going to store things for others, I've got grandkids going off to college and they're going to need this furniture or this crock pot or this, these kitchen appliances or these linens, whatever, towels. Is it worth storing those in your space or getting a storage unit? Because I've had clients who will get a storage unit and store all of those things for their grandkids or their niece or their nephew or whoever, their kids. Is it worth the price that you pay for the storage unit, even in or out of your home? Because remember, every square foot in your home is worth an amount of money. And you have to figure out if the mental clutter and mental stress you're putting on yourself by having that square foot full is worth it. Okay. So is it worth it monetarily? Is it worth it emotionally? Is it worth it mentally? Okay. And so that's how you need to evaluate the space in your home, because it's worth one of those three things,
Yeah.
if not all three of those things.
Right.
And so is it worth all three of those things? And is that person going to want it? Because your oak furniture that you've been saving is not really your son's style. He's really
That's what he said. He said, Mom, I don't want that. I'm like, you
right.
don't?
And so why keep it? Why not pass it along to somebody who really, really would love oak furniture? I'm kind of an oak man, from Pulp Fiction. And so pass it along to somebody who wants oak instead of keeping it for your son, who's then going to keep it and feel guilty about it and not like it and then feel obligated. Do you really want your son to look at that furniture every day and be like, my mom gave me this oak furniture? Yay. Not really, right? You don't. You
I
absolutely
don't. No.
want that. And that's the whole point of why you started this, is the Swedish death cleaning sort of idea behind of elimination of your things that you don't want to have to force other people to deal with. And
Exactly.
so,
Yeah.
right. And so you need to figure out whether or not, if you're going to keep things for others, whether it's worth those three things in your mind, in your space, in your physical, in your dollar, in your pocketbook. Okay. Or could you just save that amount of money and hand him a check and say, here, son, go buy some furniture that you love.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay. So we're going to talk about restoring things when we get back into the last next week, when we wrap up. Thank you. But it's important to remember that when you're done with a category and you start putting things back, store the largest things first. And this is particularly important in your kitchen. Like, store the crock pot in the cupboard first, because then the lids can line up next to it. Whereas if you put the lids in first, now there's no space for the crock pot. And it takes up a lot more room. So put the crock pot in first and then fill in the extra with the gaps. Everybody has seen that lesson that the teacher does, where they fill it with big rocks and then littler rocks and then littler rocks, the container, and then they put sand in it. And he's like, okay, is it full? Is the container full? No, because now you can still pour water in it, right? And now it fills up all of the nooks and crannies. So go biggest first and then work your way towards small. Let's see. Oh, and if you're going to save things in a box, I want you to think about the process that's involved in that. So you have a crock pot. Are you going to put the crock pot back in the box and then put that box inside your cupboard and then close the door on the cupboard? Okay, that's 3 steps that you now have to go through to get that crock pot out every time. If you use your crock pot, I just got an air fryer and an Instapot combo. Karen, that thing has been sitting on the counter for the last 2 weeks because I've been using it every darn day.
Oh, that's good.
It's not ever going to go in a cupboard because I use it all the time and the box is gone. So there's no box or door or cabinet that I now have to deal with because I use it all the time. So make life easy for yourself. If glasses are the thing that you use the most, put those on the bottom shelf so that it's one door and grab and close. I mean, if your toothbrush is something that you use all the time and you have the counter space for it, leave it out. It doesn't need to go in the medicine cabinet or in a drawer or in a cupboard. So ease of use is the way that you're going to start re-putting all these things back into your space. Okay. Okay. And so this is the most important thing, and then we'll be done because we're at half an hour. The whole point of these sessions is to make you emotionally uncomfortable. Okay. That's the point, because otherwise you'd just do it yourself. And you're not. So I push just a little bit to help you get to the point where you start questioning why you're keeping things. And then every single one of my clients has cried, and that's okay. I'm here. I've been trained in how to deal with that. And the idea is that addressing your choices is hard. And Karen, you have really recognized this, and I admire this so much about you, is that you're like, wow, that's not the person I want to be. I'm having to redefine who I am as I make decisions, and having to make a million decisions in a day is so taxing and so mentally hard. I'd love it actually if you'd talk about that as a client, if you're willing.
Well, I hope I don't cry, because it's just that it borders on a spiritual experience of looking at your stuff. Well, that's it. Okay. Because I've reached an age where I'm like, I don't want all this stuff. And I think collectively as a society, and I think that maybe this pandemic was just forcing people to stay at home, because I was one to just like, I don't want to be home. I don't want to be home because it's a big pile of junk,
Yeah.
But I think that even collectively we're reaching this point. I mean, this consumerism of like consuming and bringing stuff home and buying and buying and buying, and just, it's like it's like we're just constipated,
Yeah.
literally and
Yeah.
metaphorically, and it's like it's a huge purging. But it's because it's, I guess because I'm really attached to a lot of my stuff, and it's like you said, I look at this and go like, this isn't who I am anymore.
Yeah.
This is not what I want. I don't want these things. And I'm getting down to like, no, you know what? That really, because you asked me, like, does it spark joy? But nah, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's just, a lot of it's just habit. And when I said mindfulness, it's like so much of my life had just been sort of like on autopilot. And I guess maybe everybody does this. You move into the kitchen and you're like, oh, I got to dig past this to get all this because I'm going to get rid of these things, but it's too much
Yeah.
trouble. So you just keep digging past the crap that, so you get to what you want. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
it's just life changing to try to, and I can see this being like something that you would do every 5 or 10 years, because hopefully you are changing. Hopefully you're growing and changing. And so your home should reflect that.
Yeah. And so you've commented on this actually already in other sessions, in other events that we're doing. And while you and I have been working together, you're not going to end up doing it every 5 or 10 years because you're going to continually do it.
Oh, yeah.
The next time you go to the store to buy something, you're going to reflect on all of the things that you and I had chatted about. Is it the right color? Is it the right shape? Does it suit your goals? And so now you're implementing my favorite thing to do is to teach people. I'm a teacher. Okay. That's why what I want you to learn as we're working, so that way it's that planned obsolescence, right? You shouldn't need me anymore. And if you do, that's okay. Refreshes are important for everyone, but I want you to continually be thinking about how to redo this, not every 5 to 10
Right.
years.
Yeah. I shouldn't have to do this again.
You
Yeah,
should
you're right.
not have to do it. If you're being mindful, as you said earlier, you should continue to have the home you want, because everything has a place and you're always putting everything back in its place.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's it for today.
Not bringing home extra stuff.
That's right.
Saying
Because if
no.
you do bring something home, you need to find a place for it. And that's probably going to take the place of something else, right?
Yeah.
So then it's a one in out situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
You're doing so well. I love having people who
it's
are part of the process.
it really is
Explain.
exhausting. And I thought, what have I done? I've only worked for like 3 hours doing this, but I was just like, okay, so I cried some more after we finished. I cried some more, and I think it was wasn't anything particular. It was just like just release, I think.
Yeah, cathartic is what you keep
Yeah,
saying.
it really was.
I love that word. It's exactly what it is. It's cathartic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really powerful
Yay.
stuff. Oh, so I can't believe we're going to finish next week.
So last category is sentimental, and that's why that's the hardest category. Okay. And then I'll do a little bit of wrap up about how to move things back into your space. And you keep asking this as we're working together. Should I go ahead and fold them all now? And no, we're going to do that later, all at one time. So we'll talk about that at the end.
Oh, I got to say one thing that helped me so much, because I think you had to say it to me several times. You said you've touched that more than once.
Oh.
I've tried on my own before, and I ended up just like, oh, I don't know what to do with that. And so Shanley she would stop me, like I'd pick this up and go, oh, but what about that? And I'd drop this over here, and then
Right.
say, wait, go back to that. What was that? You just threw back. I'm like, something I didn't want to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. But if you pick it up once and you deal with it, you never have to pick it up
Deal with
again.
it, yeah. So that was so helpful, and you probably are still going to have to do that with me some more, because that's
okay.
just the way I've functioned through my life. It's like, nope, not going to deal with that.
Karen, that's the way everyone functions in their life. Okay. Everyone does that because it's avoidance. There's the whole reason I'm here is because you're avoiding it. Otherwise, I wouldn't.
I'm so glad you were there. Like,
yeah.
wait, what was that you just threw away? What?
Yeah. Nothing. I'm having such a blast working with you. It's so fun.
Well, it's life changing, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that.
Thank you.
Oh, because I grew up poor, there was a part of me thinking, and I should go ahead and say this in case somebody else is thinking this, maybe they might be, but I mean, I thought, I feel guilt a little bit. I thought, good grief, pay somebody to help you organize. Good God, Karen, can't you do this on your own? I mean, my mother sort of popped into my head, like, just, pull on your big girl panties and go get that done. And I felt weird about hiring somebody to help me with this, but you know what? Do it, like, do it right now. Don't wait. Don't feel guilty. Just do it.
That's the best Google review I can get right there.
All right. Well, thank you, Shanley. And
happy holidays to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
We'll catch you one more time. And there's still the, let me grab it real quick. There's still the holiday catalog of Young Living essential oils you can go through and through the end of the month, and they'll still be available afterwards, but I'm going to recycle that catalog at the end of the month. But we'll catch you next week, same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll do the New Year's version.
All right. Thank you. Love you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.